Connor, can you record? Oh, yes, you're recording now.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't know. I mean, I just walked in and I have had 3 hours of sleep, so I'm spaced out. Sorry about that.
Mhm.
Go ahead. I'm gonna.
Yeah, if you don't mind taking it from the top and maybe starting with if they had any specific requests.
Okay, so this person didn't really say specifically. They do have a lot of soreness in their body. It's a male, and I just noticed their tongue has a lot of ama on it, and I wanted to see if it was an imbalance. Um, yeah, that's kind of where it started. And yeah, so I didn't do a dosha test, but based on the Agni assessment, I kind of figured out their prakriti and vikriti. And I asked about their parents too. I said, what's your mom? What's your dad? And their mom is a really tiny person, very Vata, and the father he described as being a 6-foot Santa Claus, really large person. And this person is medium build, muscular, and really healthy, happy disposition, but has ama on their tongue. So they have good digestion. Their appetite's variable. They said that they don't really feel hungry. The age of the client is 20, I think it was 26. And very intelligent. They're an engineer. Not currently. Because I'm not an engineer and they're my coworker. But they studied engineering and they're going to be going into that field. Okay, male. It's male. Their energy is strong. They're happy. They have lots of energy. They never feel the need to take a nap. They feel heavy after eating and sleepy after eating. They do eat a lot of meat. They eat meat for breakfast and dinner. Their lunch is usually leftovers. They don't have any problems with gas, flatulence, belching, bloating, heartburn, or acid reflux, or indigestion, or anything. They said that popcorn bothered them, but they never really said how it bothered them. They said they didn't like how it, red meat, any kind of meat. He said whatever's on sale. Sometimes chicken, sometimes pork, sometimes beef. They really like fish, but they don't tend to eat that as often. Milk really bothered them. They said that they had smoothies with milk and fruit, and I said, that might be a bad combination for you. And I asked them what kind of reaction it gave them. They said bloating. Beer bothers them. They don't really drink a whole lot of beer. They get diarrhea if they have new food or drink, like they go to another country or a new place. That might be from travel. This person is also a really fast talker, but has a really calm disposition and is really well built. Yeah, it's cold smoothies. Yeah. And if it's not a smoothie for breakfast, it is bacon and eggs and heavy food, bread, toast. They get lots of exercise. They climb every day, and if they don't climb, they will go for a run. They crave sweet, sugar, and dairy products, ice cream. They don't like celery. They really said that specifically celery and salty food. They don't drink coffee or tea. Very fast eater. And I asked if they did things while they ate, and they said that yes, they watch TV and they read and they have shows they like to watch while they're eating. Their bowel movements tend to be regular. They go this either in the morning or in the evening. And they said if they went during the day, then something was wrong. And it very rarely happens. They never suffer from constipation, never suffer from diarrhea. So first thing in the morning, the night, and their stools are medium. At first I was like, oh, this person is going to be Tiksha Agni. And as I went along, I said, oh, are they Manda Agni? And this is where I got tricky. Then I said, well, can I look at your tongue again? And there's definitely ama on the tongue. And I asked more about what kind of foods they're eating. Sometimes they eat frozen food, like pizza pockets and things like that. And you can see I put the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And they do eat typically at the same time every day, depending on when their shift is, if they work late or not. But and they also add protein powder to their smoothies. They really want protein to build muscle for climbing.
I feel like there should be like a 5th classification for acne that's like bachelor acne, like acne. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It was a tough one. I don't know if
yeah, because these AMA signatures can help. It can obscure, the vikriti. It seems like they're having like kapha issues, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Why it's difficult to know, to pinpoint which dosha is the kind of like the chief mitigating factor or like vitiating factor.
Mm-hmm.
Was there another page after this?
No, this was it. I mean, I may not have, I know a little bit more if you have more questions. I just didn't write it down, but we had a long conversation about what they eat and things like that. It seems to be really bad combinations, like dairy and meat, dairy and fruit.
Yeah, it's like they have mandagni, but they're a vata. They're like a vata kapha. What did you suggest for them to do? Or
I suggested to definitely stop doing anything while eating. Try not to watch something. Try not to just focus on eating. See it as a meditation. I also suggested, because there was so much ama, to stop eating meat for like give it a try for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
What was his reaction? Was he like,
no, he's a very nice person. And he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I should do that. I don't know if he's going to follow through. But I think he's intimidated by not getting enough protein. And I said, definitely, you have a lot of bala, you have a lot of strength in you, you have kapha in you, and you don't need to eat the protein. Your body's going to make that. And I'm just explaining it to him, and I think he's slowly, like every day, he'll come up and say, hey, I tried this.
It's like $1 billion industry, the protein supplement.
Yeah.
Huge. And there's like pressure from friends and things like that. Like if 6 of my friends are all doing that before workouts, I don't know. Yeah, I can see why people get stuck into it. But you're right. There's a lot of bad food combinations, and that alone, just removing it can solve a lot more problems than we realize. So yeah, this seems like a case of like taking away things first, or like finding.
Yes. And
I think you're absolutely right with the smoothie thing. And I've been seeing that more and more. It's like these smoothies with fruit actually are a big issue. Like, 2 years deep into Ayurveda, I see it now. Like, it just kills your agni for the day, especially if it's ice cold, right?
Yes, definitely. And I did mention that was the first thing I mentioned was the smoothie. I said, oh, that's if that's that's giving you a reaction, you should like think about it, and it's actually a bad combination. And he said, okay, and then he did stop that. It's only been like a week, but the meat thing is an issue, and also the processed food thing is an issue. But they sleep well. They're happy. They don't have mind chatter. It's just eating the wrong things.
Yeah, and high vata, it's just really strange because you said they talk a lot,
but they talk really quickly. Yeah,
I find it so hard to believe that they don't have constipation or something, like or have like a. They're saying that they have good purisha, but I don't know. I would have to like.
It's a really hard one, but he's very calm, and he's very calm. Like he doesn't get anxious or not high strung. Just when he speaks, he speaks really quickly. So.
Let's see. Well, were there any herbs that you suggest, or did you just talk about removing things?
I talked about removing things, and then eventually I want to suggest maybe some warm teas, maybe even a ritual a routine in the morning, something to help them focus on what they're doing, not looking at their phone while they're eating, not things like that, because they exercise and it's just little bad habits.
Right. Yeah, people even exercise in the wrong way, right? So it's like zooming in on like, oh, you're a vata, and you you run outside in the cold for 3 hours a day. And it's really extreme. But this person doesn't sound extreme. They seem like they're pretty self-aware, and to some degree. It'll be interesting to see how the lack of or the meat stopping does. Did you suggest like the tongue, anything for the tongue, or like that they could do?
I suggested brushing their teeth in the morning right away, like in thinking about their tongue. And then I'm going to introduce the tongue scraping.
Yes.
I don't want to scare them too quickly. Triphala, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Triphala at night is really a game changer, especially if someone has like kind of, if we don't know like what's going on, if we're like, oh, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, which one? We can see how Triphala does, because it's pretty safe, right? It's for all three dosha, and yeah, that's part of Nidan is like giving a remedy, and if it doesn't work, we try again, especially if it's complex or if they have multiple things going on.
Okay. Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah. Do you have any? I guess. Yeah, it's really well done. It's really good. Do you have any others you want to share, or was there someone else?
I mean, if someone else wants to go, I mean, I have like 5 more, but it's up to if anyone else wants to comment. Yeah.
Any comments? Well, I mean, if you don't mind doing another one that you thought was interesting.
Okay.
That was a pretty good amount of time for that one. It was nice and concise. I liked it.
Okay, let's see.
I'll have another one.
Yeah.
If anyone else has any others and they want to like start pulling them up or start having, on your desktop screen, or if you feel called to share, or if you have an Agni encounter that made you question some things or was unclear, or you had doubts.
Okay, I do have this one. Can you guys see that one? I don't know if this one's sharing.
You have to, I think you have to stop share, and then it'll go back to a blank screen, and then.
Okay. And then share. Oops. Okay. You can see this one?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Okay, this one was tricky. I did just I didn't do a dosha test. I did, but not on a piece of paper. I just kind of asked the questions. This person actually has a lot of. Is this the one? Yes. Okay. You can see even at the bottom, I made a note. Client tends to speak to himself. Lots of mind chatter. Very nice person. It just sometimes talks to themselves. This person has red hair, red skin, very slim, medium height, bright blue eyes. And their digestion, they said, was good. They do drink a lot of coffee. They have strong appetite. Energy is medium, variable, fluctuates at work. Doesn't feel heavy after eating, doesn't feel sleepy unless eats. Age is 34, male. I should write that on the paper, sorry.
Yeah, that tells us like what dosha will be more likely to.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Okay, yes, I have to do that. Meat, they do eat meat, and when they eat meat, they do feel heavy. Didn't necessarily suffer from any of the gas, flatulence, belching, bloating, heartburn, or acid. I think acid reflux. I'm in the past. I'm thinking they didn't mention, but I'm thinking likely, but not currently. They said lightly uncooked eggs. Sometimes when they don't cook them enough, that really bothers them. Fermented foods like kimchi gives them diarrhea when they go to create this Korean restaurant they mentioned. They crave sweet a lot, really likes black coffee, drinks coffee throughout the day, even after 6 p.m. My first suggestion was to stop at least after 3 p.m. to stop before 3 p.m. Their bowel movements are regular. 2 to 3 times a day, sometimes 1 to 2 per day. They go later in the morning after coffee. And medium, hard, and variable consistency. When they don't get a lot of sleep, it's hard.
Right.
Like balls, hard little balls. Okay, so this would be Tikshna Agni. This one was really hard for me too. I thought that the variable consistency and the mind chatter would lend itself to Vishma Agni, but
Yeah, I think that, yeah, maybe I see what you're saying about that. Yeah, and it could be a little of both. Like this person may have like a lower heat tolerance, but generally have Vishamagni. But yeah, if they're having all this constipation, you're saying, and dry stool, and they're having sleep issues and the coffee, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, and I'm sure if you even mention taking away the coffee, there would be a gasp, right? People become really, that's when you know if a pitta predominant person is on the coffee really hard, you know there's an energy thing going on, because the pitta should be able to have, has their own reservoir. So if you see something like that where there's a strong stimulant dependency, you know that something is going, like Agni is really, really impaired. But I see what you're saying, the Visham Agni. Would you recommend anything for the evening protocol, and specifically that, I guess for like oleating, like, did you mention anything about abdominal massage or?
I did offer some yoga therapy. I'm a yoga teacher, and not full time, but I have my yoga teacher training, and he has a lot of pain. He doesn't sleep well. He's really tense and tight and bad posture. And I offered stick pose and just some things that kind of massaged Valasan, their stomach. I didn't get into oleation or anything. But they do have a lot. Oh, and I offered pranayam and meditation because they have a hard time falling asleep. I tend to listen to music at the same time as reading before going to sleep. And I said, that's kind of sensory overload. Maybe choose one or the other. And I offered Brahmai for some pranayam meditation. And they really seemed to really like that. It helped with their mind chatter.
Did you say you saw ama on the tongue, or I'm sorry, did you look at the tongue on this?
The tongue wasn't that bad, actually. I did look at it, yeah. It had a bit, but not as bad as the last Agni assessment we just looked at.
I feel you. Yeah, it seems like if we throw herbs at this person for pain or whatever, like first you have to remove the overpowering diuretic in the life, which is coffee, and like I've been giving herbs to people who are like 2 pots of coffee a day people, and herbs don't seem to really work as much because I think all the water, they're just so dehydrated. And the rasa dhatu we see, right, or we see the skin and everything, and that would be, it's another case of removing something before you can give something.
Right, yeah. The habits, I think, are the bad ones. These were the 2 tough ones for me. I did a few others, and they were like textbook pitta, and they had no ama on their tongue.
Oftentimes we don't get to take things away from people because that would shock them, A, or B, that would make them not ever come see you again. But what we can do is like give, if you take a kid's toy away, give the kid another one so they're distracted, or like slowly remove things, or like, like giving little things like, okay, no coffee after 3. That may not sound like a lot, but that could be huge. And it's these little encouragement things that can like push someone in the right direction. But yeah, this was a good case too.
Okay, good. What kind of herbs for this person?
Well, we know that you're saying there's such hard stool. I would give the easiest a really simple one is, like I said, trifala for the last case as well.
Right.
Both of these are kind of like, to me, I think, both of these people have ama, but the tongue will like 9 times out of 10 show, but not always. Sometimes Amma can be really, really deep, but you never know. And I would say Triphala is a good indicator. If someone's like, wow, I'm so much better after that Triphala, then we know. But yeah, and evening protocol is something I would focus on for this one. And having something that they can do in the morning where coffee is not the ritual, right? If everything I do in the morning is around the coffee, right? I'm just thinking about it when I'm brushing my, I'm thinking about it in the shower. Like we've got to like pivot away from that being maybe you can have like meditation time. That should be the focus. But it's these kind of things like setting up the rituals, and because the word habit scares people. Like, I don't have a dependency. Well, if you say like your rituals and it kind of makes people feel like they have more control, or they have more, I don't know if I may be illustrating this correctly, but.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, this person does depend on the coffee, but they're definitely, they want change. They want to change. So that's good. They know that something needs to change.
Yeah. If a person's not sleeping, then that's one of our 3 pillars of Ayurveda, right? So.
And I'll quickly add one more thing. It's Dr. Monica Singhal here. I'll be also talking about few clients, and I'll be talking about the Pitta and Vata pacifying protocols. So I will talk about it in but good job. I think this case, to me, it looks like Tikshagni or Vishamagni. It's like a very debatable thing because he's in Pitta age, and he gets, you said, diarrhea after ferment food, right? Kimchi and all that. But otherwise, he has irregular bowels, like constipation-like symptoms.
Right.
Yeah, I think Connor is right. Suggest Triphala first so that the ama reduces, then the evening protocol will be best for this client to start with. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Connor, you can take away. Who wants to go next?
Was there anyone else that had any? Oh, wait. Okay. I guess we can try to make you. I'm going to make you co-host if I can. Et voila, you are now co-host, Senor Andrews. So there's going to be a rectangular screen at the bottom, a black band, and then a little green rectangle, and you push on that, and then you can, if your presentation is up on your desktop, you can just, it'll become visible to everyone in the class.
See that?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So I did an Agni assessment with a longtime friend who's been struggling with losing weight. So just kind of without even doing the dosha assessment, I know that he's a kapha type. And after doing the assessment with him, it's pretty obvious. So he's 33. We talked about his digestion. He said it's fair. He said he wants to improve it because he does like feel heavy and things after eating. He says his appetite is variable. His energy during the day is pretty low. He does do like the last person was talking about, like coffee in the morning. He always has to have his coffee. That he puts a lot of sugar in by his own admission. He says he feels heavy after eating and sleepy after eating. He takes naps daily, pretty much after work, pretty much every day. He said that recently he was having a lot of gas and flatulence and bloating and some acid indigestion. And he was specifically talking about in the morning. I was asking, what are you eating for breakfast? And he said breakfast sandwiches. And, I had to push him a little bit because he never wants to admit to me what he's eating. So he talked about his breakfast sandwiches being bacon, eggs, and biscuits. And he says that, he feels bloated after this because initially before he told me what the breakfast sandwiches consisted of, he said that he felt like his belly increased after doing this. That's when I asked him to tell me specifically what type of breakfast sandwiches he was eating. And you know, when he told me bacon, eggs, and biscuits, and I think that he's a kapha type, of course, that just, you know, was a red flag to me.
Were you able to ask, sorry, were you able to ask how long these naps were after work? Are they like little quick ones, or is he saying like he's out, he's KO'd for hours or something like that?
He didn't specifically say, but I know it's longer than an hour. I know it's longer than an hour. But I can go back and ask specifically how long the naps usually go.
That'd be interesting to find out. But yeah, sorry, keep going.
No
You're doing great.
No problem. He said he eats a lot of fast food, and he eats a lot of processed food. So the breakfast sandwiches that he eats, he's not even making at home. It's the ones that he goes to, you get from the store, and you warm up in the microwave. He has a lot of food craving. He loves his sweets and carbs. Specifically, he likes like bubble teas. I think I'm saying it right. Bubble teas. I don't know, bubble teas and like little shakes and things like milkshakes.
Yeah, those are usually like ice cold.
Yeah.
Always craving kale and grapefruit. Well, those are both pretty bitter, right?
Right. Now I didn't know. Grapefruit I know was not on the. I thought it was more of a sweet fruit. So I was going to ask about that. I thought that was interesting. I understood why he was craving the kale, but not necessarily the grapefruit.
I've had grapefruit that were bitter, sour, and sweet, but mostly they're pretty strongly bitter sour combo or bitter sweet combo, but mostly bitter, especially in like the like the skin and stuff. It's like to me, I'm a vata, so I can't even eat it. So from these cravings, we can see some maybe some pitta things, but.
Yeah, he mentioned that 3 times. That I guess these are very strong cravings because he mentioned it 3 times during our conversation.
Oh,
he
really likes
grapefruit. So his elimination, he says, tends to be regular, once daily. Sorry, this should be later in the morning is when he's having to go to the bathroom. He said his stools are usually medium, and I put that I couldn't decide whether should be a mala parisha or the V type. But I put gas, flatulence, and variable appetite because that was mostly what he had. But he was also saying he felt sluggish and heavy after eating, so I didn't know which one would be most appropriate. And he did say that he has, we did this over the phone, so I couldn't see, but he had a white coating over his tongue. So he wants to, he said he wants to lose around 30 pounds, and say he works out. And so we talked about what his workout regimen consists of, and he said he mostly is on the elliptical. So I asked him, does he change it up a lot? And he said no. And the reason I asked that is because, I feel like he is kapha type and he has very strong legs. So if he's doing elliptical, I don't think it's going to do much it's not going to challenge him as much as, him modifying it or doing other things within the gym. And he said he has trouble modifying the workout because he doesn't necessarily know what to do. He had a trainer at one point, but he fell off with that. He likes to go to the gym when there's not a lot of people around. I think there's some kind of judgment issues around just him going to the gym. He also talked about like he wants to move out of the city that he's in, but he's kind of fearful for making changes. And he also feels lethargic as far as just even putting his application out or just kind of making the next moves to go back to doing the things that he wants to do. And I know we talked about in class about how kapha types can have attachment issues. And so he also talked about fear around moving, and he specifically does not want to leave his mom because his mom is pretty much his only family member. So he has attachment around not just leaving, the city he's in, but specifically leaving his mom because he he's not sure what's going to happen to her or how she's going to feel when he leaves or if he leaves.
How old is this person again?
He's 33.
And I'm sorry, what was his profession?
He is a lab technician. He works in a lab, so in biology or the biology field, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I think Dr. Singhal is right. This person sounds like a Pitta Kapha to me. And they're having, you know what, I think my intuition is immediately that this person is eating late at night. I know they are. I can just see it.
He does.
Yeah.
And I asked, because one of the questions that came up, or one of the things we talked about in class was, what time of day does he eat? And I just asked out of curiosity, I said, do you feel thirsty often? He said, no. And I said, when do you usually eat? And he says, after 11 is when he starts to eat breakfast. And so he'll eat after his nap. And I think he doesn't get off until 4 or 5. So I'm not sure when his naps end, but that will push his, a later lunch and dinner to, further in the night.
Yeah, I think this person is eating maybe even just 30 minutes before bed. I can see it. The signature is all over this chart, or all over this. Yeah, I mean, the acid, we've got this kapha thing going, right? The ama buildup, but then we have this acid thing going. Agni's it's just all over the place. And getting this person definitely on the timing thing is key. Absolutely. This person, yeah, it's the nighttime snacking and eating that's, I think, the biggest issue. And some people can't get it all on time at once, so we just have to start, that's one thing to do, is zoom in, when can I help this person the most? Morning or evening? When does it behoove them to, when is it more beneficial for them to have this health conscious moment to themselves? And we start there, and then it builds up, and eventually they start changing, making bigger and bigger changes. But I don't also believe that this is a medium variable consistency of stool. I don't know. I mean, always we respect what people say. Shabda is the most important, testimony of client is the biggest, most thing we respect.
Right.
We have to look at everything, right? And we have to see everything is variable. Soft, medium, hard, that's a relative scale. So I don't know. I would hesitate to believe that. I would say they have more tikshna sometimes, but the gas, the flatulence, we know that vata, that's going to provide them immediate relief if we can kind of remove these first things. Always first thing for protocols, lifestyle stuff. And it just magically, everything starts getting better, right? It's
right.
And suddenly you're seen as so insightful, but it's these little things hey, maybe stop eating at 7, and work with what you have for them, right? We also can't make ridiculous expectations. It has to be something that they can achieve and feel good about and feel good. They have to feel good about it, yeah?
Right. I see that some of the recommendations, I specifically was talking more about diet. And because he likes very sweet fruits. And so I was trying to get him to understand, the fruits that are better for him, as far as having more of the dry fruits, because he does like the bananas and he does like the grapes and things like that. And so I was trying to recommend maybe having apples or just more dry fruits. And he likes sweet potatoes. And so I was like, you don't necessarily have to cut the sweet potatoes out, but you maybe need to severely limit them and have the white potatoes instead, because they are drying. So just trying to get him to understand the differences between the dry fruits and the sweet fruits and things like that, and what would be probably better for him at this point. I try not to tell him that he couldn't have things.
Right.
Because I think he would probably go the opposite way. He's feeling like he can't have something makes him want to have it. Right. So I was talking about limiting things slowly, and trying to get to the point where he is doing more of the things that are going to bring him back in balance, but not trying to overwhelm him.
Right. One last thing I want to touch on for this case is the sleeping midday, and Dr. Singhal has been mentioned that several times. I think that could be a huge thing as well. What would you recommend or if anyone wants to chat, or would you think that's a good thing? Would you try to get this person to stop napping?
I was trying to get him to stop napping, and maybe going right to the gym after work. 'Cause I know that we were talking about if you're a copper type, that you shouldn't be sleeping as much during the day. And so I was trying to get him to incorporate the gym right after work, um, to maybe even boost with some of his, the energy levels, and that'll make him hungry right after, um, you know, eating. I mean, after going to the gym, and so that he's not eating, like you said, later in the day.
Right. Those two things alone, I think we'll see a totally different person, right? And that's before we've given a single herb. It's just the food thing, and then the nap scenario. And that's a good first thing that this person can work with, like right off the bat. That was a really good. That was really good. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Or if you have any of those, feel free to type them in the chat. And then I guess.
Yeah, I think it was good, but this person definitely needs to, you have to recommend daytime sleeping is not good for his digestion. Even the kapha will increase if he keeps on doing these naps. So definitely do the lifestyle recommendation. The first thing is if he can reduce the sleep, the naps during the daytime, and the good suggestion was that as you said that as soon as he wakes up, you want him to go to the gym and then he can eat, right? Okay.
Or after work, I was saying he can go to the gym right after work.
Right after work. So what time he comes back from the work?
I believe it's around 4, but I would have to double check when he actually gets.
But how can he sleep he sleeps in the workplace or what? Or he comes home?
Yeah, he goes home and he takes a nap.
Wow. He is fortunate.
Yeah, I went to nap like this.
Okay. So, Connor, I was thinking I will share a few of the case studies, and I have protocols with the attached to the case study so that everyone will get an idea. I have a good case study for Pitta, Vata, and even Pitta Kapha. So, you want me to share, or if anyone else wants to share, I'm fine either ways.
Do I press stop share on this?
I'm sorry?
Okay.
Do I press the stop share?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah.
And then Dr. Sangal, I made you co-host.
Okay. Thank you, Connor.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope everyone can see. And this time I'm trying my Windows laptop, not the Mac. So hopefully I can see the chat. Let me.
Also, I can answer questions in the chat too.
Okay, perfect. So everyone can see. Should I make it more bigger? To make it more bigger. Okay, so so the first client is a 36-year-old Vata woman who suffers from constipation, has had dry, hard stools. She has a bowel movement only with laxative. Like naturally she cannot. When she have the laxative, then only she can pass bowels. And she tends to eat a lot of salad, raw food, and because of her work, she misses meals and loves drinking coffee. So what could be the possible Chikitsa and Agni assessment for this? First, I will ask you, then I will share the protocol. So let me see the chat. Okay. No raw food, yeah. Drink warm water. Like no skipping of the meals. What else? Main thing I didn't put in this thing. You should ask for the tongue coating. So she does have tongue coating. She has ama, It was white, thick, like coating. No coffee. Okay, now let's see. For this person, Vata pacifying protocol. So Vata should favor the sweet, salty, sour taste in the diet. First thing is eat warm, well-cooked meal. No raw meals. Well-cooked meals such as soup, casserole, stews, oatmeal, porridge. And you can also suggest them some recipes if they don't know how to. Some like my clients sometimes they say, "Oh, I don't know how to make a good soup." So just you can suggest a recipe. And then next will be use of healthy oils like ghee is the best, sesame oil for vata, almond oil is also good. Then spice each meal. The best spices for vata are turmeric, fresh ginger, cumin, ajwain, black pepper, sesame seeds, cinnamon, nutmeg. So you can suggest depending on what kind of uh, recipes they like, so you can suggest them, but definitely suggest turmeric, fresh ginger, cumin. These three are the key for vata. Then sweet heavy well ripe fruits are very good for vata, like banana, soaked raisin, dates, avocado, figs, and well cooked vegetables such as, so I'm just giving you an idea so that you can give to your clients. So these are the few suggestions what you can give if a client is vata. So this is vata pacifying ahara vihara protocol. Next, you can also suggest that whole fat organic dairy is good for vata unless they are lactose intolerant. Milk should be warm and spiced, and ice creams and all the cold beverages should be typically avoided. Eat on a consistent schedule. So usually the vata specific eating chart should be 7 to 8 a.m. Nourishing breakfast upon awakening, and between 11 to 1 p.m. a good lunch, and medium size or very light dinner between 6 to 7 p.m. And do not skip meals, as I mentioned earlier. Avoid raw foods, avoid cold frozen foods and beverages, and avoid hard to digest veggies such as cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, because all these tend to produce gas, bloating, cramping. Avoid refined sugar, refined grains, and processed food. And definitely avoid caffeine, as vata have extremely sensitive nervous system. And more things to suggest are like practice abhyanga, Ayurvedic self-massage, at least if they can do 3 to 4 times with for vata sesame oil, just for 30 seconds, if you can do in microwave, just warm it up and then do abhyanga self-massage. Stay moisturized, stick to the daily routine. And if they are living in a cold place, then bundle up and keep your neck warm with a scarf, especially in fall and early winter. Then reduce alcohol, caffeine that I've already mentioned. So the most important things to help or pacify vata, 3 important things: routine, rest, warmth, and oleation. So if you remember these few points, then you can suggest the protocol accordingly. Next client is a John, a Pitta man who has low energy and eating lots of salsa, and will do a junk food takeout. He has lots of acid reflux, acidity, and even antacids are not helping him at all. So Now I'll be talking about Pitta pacifying protocol. Since Pitta's quality we know that are oily, sharp, penetrating, hot. So basically, we should focus on cooling him down. He can take a swim or getting out in crisp, fresh morning air, even take a walk in the moonlight when the temperature is cooler and the pace is slower. He should avoid hot tubs, saunas, and hot weather. And try suggesting cooling substance typically on the skin like rose water or coconut oil. Reduce alcohol, caffeine. He should slow down and take time to relax and even be spontaneous. Schedule, like the person should schedule the fun time or me time. Yeah, and engage in a moderate exercise routine. For Pitta people, they should not burnt out or tired. They should not be like overdo. They should have a moderate exercise routine and definitely avoid exercising in the heat of the day. And abhyanga with cooling oils like coconut or sunflower for Pitta. And never skip meals, especially lunch, because the Agni or the is highest during the Pitta time of the day. So they never skip lunch. This you all can, I think, you can read or go through this protocol again. I will skip this slide because it's same. The what is Pitta? Pitta is already hot and sharp by nature. So addition of heating foods will only increase the fire and will lead to the inflammation, ulceration, and acidity in the system. So hot, spicy food should be avoided, like pepper, citrus food except limes. Fermented food should be avoided. Hot spices like cayenne pepper, black pepper should be avoided for Pitta people. They should more focus on the cooling food. I mentioned about bath in the moonlight. If they can do, Brahmi is very good. Brahmi oil or coconut oil are specific for reducing Pitta symptoms, both physical, mental, and emotional. By doing this simple practice before before bed each night will reduce the Pitta type headaches, tension, heat, and irritation. And some of the Pitta reducing herbs are Shatavari, Guduchi. Depending on what symptoms they are presenting, you can suggest. And the 3 or 4 important things to pacify Pitta are slowing down, surrender, cooling, and sweetness. If you can remember this and suggest protocol accordingly. Okay, now let me stop share, and if anyone else wants to share.
I think we're gonna have Henry go next. I'm gonna make co-host. Thank you for that presentation. That was really good because those touched on our presentation or the clients, the Agni encounters we've talked about.
Yeah, I have few more. If we have time, then I'll go through. Otherwise, I'll share this presentation. You guys can go through the presentation on your own also.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad we touched on that. I'm gonna make co-host. Et voila. And you know how to share your screen? You've pulled up your back a little.
Not sure. Oh, yep. Can you see it?
Yeah, it's visible.
All right. So it's fairly easy case. I did it for my girlfriend who already practices a lot of the principles. So she's female, age 32. The dosha test I didn't do myself. It's done by someone else. It's Prakriti, Pitta, and then secondary Vata and Kapha. Personally, I think it's Pitta Vata. Her Vikriti is Vata high. Her profession is a yoga teacher, entrepreneur, works at home, travels a lot. And she felt happy at work, good medical condition, only does some vitamin supplements in the mornings. Basically, she follows a pitta diet. She rarely eats spicy food. She did a khichdi fast for 2 weeks, eating only khichdi in January, and a master cleanse last August. Sometimes combining salad and cooked food, but most of the time eating them separately. She feels like sometimes she eats with stress, and she has problems with stopping when she's eating something sweet, or if there's some junk food or something like this available, she tends to overeat. Or when the food is really, really good, she tends to overeat. But when it's a normal meal, then she doesn't have problems with eating too much. She has a craving for sweet food and bitter food, and the combination of sweet and bitter food. The meals are very regular, so basically 6 days a week she eats at 10 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 lunch, and 7 p.m. dinner. The breakfast is almost always oatmeal combined with vegan yogurt made of oats, mango puree or blackberries, and then she has almond milk or golden milk with curcumin. Lunch, dinner, in general, quite sattvic vegan meals, varies, but nothing really to change in that section. During the weekend, she tends to eat once or twice a week outside in a restaurant. She has a daily snack, rye bread or tahini, or then an orange or an apple. After the meal, occasionally she feels bloating, but not often. Bitter taste is something that comes after the meal. Out of 1 to 10, she felt like her stress level is 5. I personally would say it's a little bit higher. Not 10, but somewhere between 5 and 10. Just fairly regular exercise, 1 to 2 times a week, vigorous skiing or running. Practices asanas and pranayama meditation every day. No alcohol or other substances. Then related to the appetite, first meal an hour and a half after waking up. She has meals every 3 to 5 hours, so good schedule. 3 meals a day, 1 snack, variable quantity. Usually the lunch is the largest meal. No caffeine. She loves coffee but doesn't eat it too much. Drink too much. Let's say once or twice a week she has a cup of coffee, but tries to get rid of that as well. Eats mostly at home, usually 30 minutes per meal, so quite slowly. Doesn't do any additional activities while eating, and only drinks warm water. So very, very good protocol with the eating. Digestion, occasionally bloating. As I said before, regular routine. Eating, she eats according to the time of day, but she feels like she's rarely hungry, so not necessarily forcing herself to eat, but it mostly, she just sees that it's time to eat, and then she eats. No sleeping during the day. However, she has a regular program going to sleep between 9 and 10 and waking up between 6 and 7, but she very often feels tired in the morning when she wakes up, so it's hard to get out of bed in the morning. elimination, 1 to 3 bowel movements per day. This is fairly regular, 1 to 3 bowel movements per day, so it's regularly variable. And there's small particles in the elimination. During menstruation, she feels occasional constipation, no discomfort, sometimes suppresses defecation. Bowel nature is soft, light brown. There's been some blood recently, maybe due to slight hemorrhoids. Sharp body odor, but still in the sattvic section, so not really smelly, but a little bit more body odor than normally. And she spends around 5 minutes in the restroom. So for me, the analysis was, I wasn't sure, is it Vishamagni or Tikshnagni? There was, for me, signs of both, but the bowel movements were then very, I mean, there's 1 to 3, so.
Can we back up to the sleep?
Sure.
What, in your opinion, is there a sleep issue here, or like tossing and turning and getting up to drink, is because you're saying there's a stress issue here from what I heard, and it seems like it sometimes can show up in sleep pretty heavily.
She's had like very severe sleeping problems in the past, but now they're in better condition. She doesn't need to go to pee during the night. She does it, the last thing she does before to go to sleep is going to pee. She has a hard time falling asleep, so it takes her somewhat to 30 minutes to an hour to fall asleep. But then when she's asleep, she sleeps very well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say this person is Vishamagni, especially since in Tikshnagni, there's like an intense hunger, right? I would say definitely this is some Vata things going on, and it seems like sleep to me would be the thing that I would zoom in on personally. But yeah, this is really well done, and yeah, we have some questions here. Oh yeah, Dr. Singhal. There's not like diabetes in this case or anything like that. There's
no diabetes, no medication. I mean, when I'm talking about overeating, that's okay. Yogis say overeating, so that's like eating 1.5 meals. So it's not like filling yourself over like super eating like regular people might do. So I'd say it's in the slight category. So it's when she eats sweets, let's say once a week or something like that. So it's not anything that's overdoing.
I think I can speak for Vata. Like it's a soothing thing. We like the sweet, but I feel what is amazing for us is touch, massage before bed. I mean, it's a game changer. Like if researching Marma points, Vatas really respond well to, if they have stress, they respond so quickly to touch. It's really amazing. That could be something to think about as well. And if this person I mean, it sounds like they already know what's up. They know a lot of health. Their diet is really good, and this is really well presented. But yeah, to me, it's something about that sleep. I'm not sure what your takeaway is, what your thinking is, but
well, yeah, for me, it's because everything is very well balanced. There's a lot of relaxation going on. There's frequent asana practice, regular pranayama, regular meditation, and then there's fairly good amount of hours per sleep, and then she wakes up tired. So I'd say like that's the biggest health related problem there is, that like normally you should wake up fairly energized, and there's some lethargy when she wakes up.
Thinking like Pandu, like is there like anemia going on? In my mind, I'm just running like in my head, like, is it the quality of the sleep? Like, yeah, I don't know. This, yeah, I guess, yeah, Dr. Singhal is still wondering about the urination at night, but I guess that is
that's she doesn't need to urinate at the moment, but that's something that she stresses out because of her past, that in the past she's had problems with sleeping, so she wants to like there's stress about getting a perfect night's sleep. So that's why she really needs to urinate the last thing she does before she goes to bed, because there's stress that she feels like she needs to wake up during the night, and that'll ruin her good night's sleep. But she doesn't need to go usually, but that's something coming from the past, my mental thing.
Yeah, it feels like we have to get ghee in the diet or something more, some more oleation going on. To me, I just see oil. In my mind, that's what I'm saying is oil, oleation. It's just, I feel dryness in like the particles in the malapariksha, like maybe there's some malabsorption thing. I don't know. That could be a thing. Malabsorption causing the sleep. I don't know, some compounding factors, but definitely we want to increase Agni, and we want to, there's things we can give, like pungents can help. Ginger, fresh ginger in the morning, or having something that where we can cause the person to feel hunger. To me, for Vata, like if you can make a Vata person feel hungry, that's a really big win. If there's variation, because if you could just make them hungry, it's like, things will start to normalize and become more regular. But that's just what I see. But
I see Monica writing in the chat about thinking too much. That's definitely the case. Like super overthinking of everything. That's definitely the case.
And usually some people meditate and do yoga that way too, the whole time they're thinking. And so it's like, even though they're doing these things, if your mind is still going.
Yeah.
Well, that was really well done. I'm really happy with everyone's presentations. These are really, really well done. I guess, Larry, are you there? Would you like to present next?
Hello.
Hey, would you like to present next? I can make you co-host.
Sure.
Okay. All you have to do is pull up your presentation and have it on your desktop. And then you share your screen.
Yeah, I'm connected with my phone right now.
Oh.
I could present just based off memory.
Okay. Yeah, if you have a good grasp on it, yeah, let's hear about it.
Okay, so the client I had was 28 years old, female. Business management, vegan, eats only 1 or 2 meals a day, has a very strict meditation practice, and she was really struggling with bowel movements, and she had the idea that if she didn't have coffee, she couldn't eliminate. So she was used to using coffee as an assistant there. And her meals consisted of largely Vata-provoking items, even though physically I could tell she was already very Vata. And I had my mentor feel her pulse, and she said she was actually Pitta Vata. And that made a lot of sense to me because there's a lot of rosacea, red tinges. And she was also saying that she would feel her digestion was quick, but also randomly just sort of stop. So I felt it was definitely Visham Agni, because it seemed to me like when I probed deeper into her eating habits, it was periods of extreme control and then sort of sudden relaxation. And when I probed deeper, what I found was that she was receiving very, I would say, cult-like meditation instructions. As a meditation teacher myself for the last 10 years, I really keep an eye out for, when meditations become overly neurotic or really focus on controlling and having to have a certain outcome every time you meditate. So I noticed that this person was just very much in this world of controlling everything, controlling her mind, controlling exactly what she ate. And so I just suggested more self-love and more loving kindness meditation, and just observing and allowing herself to be free. I encouraged more heavy foods, vata pacifying foods. And then my mentor also suggested more actually pitta pacifying foods, because from her pulse she picked up a lot of inflammation, and then she really encouraged her to practice forgiveness and surrender, like other people have mentioned for pitta imbalances. So that's what I have on the top of my head with my client.
Yeah, the psychosomatic thing, I see what you're saying. That's kind of huge. The self-love, that's really good. Does anyone have any comments?
I think what I am guessing is that, or what I'm suggesting is that you should tell your client she can try pitta pacifying diet and lifestyle in the summer or anytime when it's warm. Usually when you have a dual dosha imbalance, pitta and vata. So the best thing is to do pitta pacifying during summer and vata pacifying diet and lifestyle recommendation during fall and winter. And avoid the heat of the midday sun, especially in the summer, and protect yourself from the cold wind during the warm weather. That will be my
Yeah, I agree with that. That's really wise. 100%. Well, is there anyone else who wants to share a case that they? Let's see. How are we doing on time? I mean, I think like we've touched everyone. If there's any more, otherwise, I guess y'all know that it's spring break starting today, and it's gonna, I guess, go on till April 2nd. So there's no classes. You get a little breather to integrate this information. Yeah, y'all did really, really, really well, and I'm impressed. Actually, y'all are intuitive. It's good. But yeah,
Conrad, if we have time, then I can share. I have like the kapha pacifying protocol, and then I have like a combination protocol. If we have time, I can share that. Like it's a 10 minutes or 15 minutes, 3 or 4 slides.
Yeah, let's do it. I think we should do it. I'm gonna make you. I forgot. I'm gonna make you go again. There you go. Seahawks fan. I saw that.
Okay, I'm sharing it again. Okay, so the client was Riley, an accountant in his 30s. Okay, let me first make the full screen. Riley, an accountant in his 30s, is feeling heavy, sluggish, and unable to finish his work and unable to concentrate. So kapha is high. And since kapha's quality are heavy, slow, cold, oily, smooth, dense, stable, so those with the kapha vikriti should focus on food and experiences that are light, fast, warm, dry, rough, liquid, mobile, and clear. The first thing is we'll suggest don't nap during the day. It'll make them more sluggish. Wake up with the sunrise, get more exercise, especially kinds that require endurance and cardiovascular effort. You can also recommend dry brushing your skin to stimulate the lymphatic circulation and drainage. Use light warming oils for abhyanga, like sunflower or almond. Sesame is primarily good for vata people, but it can be used for kapha also. Stay warm, bundle up during the winter time, and try to be more spontaneous and break out from your comfort zone. And in terms of dietary need, kapha individuals should steer towards a light, low-carb diet with high fiber content. Basically, add warming spices like ginger, garlic, cinnamon. Warming and drying spices are ideal for kapha. Eat your biggest meal at lunchtime when your metabolism is most efficient, and eat a light dinner. Try drinking only room temperature, warm, hot beverages, as the cold water will slow down kapha's digestion even more. So avoid cold beverages. Then we know that cooked food is preferable or for easy digestion. But light foods like salads can be eaten when seasonally appropriate, like in late spring and summer. But I think I'll suggest cooked food is better anytime. Minimize hard cheeses like pudding, nuts, cake, pies. Don't overeat. So the rule of thumb is that after a meal is if your stomach is 1/3 full of food, 1/3 full of water, and 1/3 empty, that is good for proper digestion and assimilation. So the important things for kapha is what you have to keep in mind is it should be the warming, energizing, light, and mobile. Then I'll talk about a kapha pitta woman having hot flashes. So being a kapha pitta type means that these two doshas are predominant in your constitution. So, and it's usually best to manage a dual dosha according to the season. So in general, as a pitta kapha, follow a pitta pacifying regime during the late spring and summer season, especially when the weather is hot, and follow a kapha pacifying regime during the cooler times of the year, like winter and early spring. Do not skip meals. Start your day with a cooked fruit followed by some cereal, and then eat a sustaining meal at lunch and lighter meal for dinner. Then you can suggest for snacking, choose a sweet juicy fruit like fully ripe mangoes, sweet pears. Delaying meals can cause excess acidity, so eat on time. Then daily elimination is important, and triphala is one herb which is very good for the regularity and toning of the digestive system, and it's tridoshik. You can use in vata, pitta, and kapha, all the three doshas. Then spices suggest for this client could be fennel, coriander, mint, cumin, turmeric, and especially for the hot flashes and menopausal symptoms, you can suggest soak 5 almonds overnight, and then in the morning peel off the skin and grind them to a fine paste, and grind 3 black peppers and 2 pieces of cardamom, and 1 teaspoon of anise seeds, and mix them with the almond paste. So this paste they can mix with the boiled milk and add a teaspoon of honey. by this recipe, the hot flashes can be reduced. Here is one suggestion of a recipe. What I do when I give a protocol to my client, I try to add few recipes with it, because then they will try. Otherwise, the next thing is that we don't know how to make it. Okay, then same thing. It's a Vata Pitta protocol. Follow up Pitta pacifying. Okay, client number 5 was Ramesh. Recently migrated from West Coast mountains to East Coast sea level. He's Pitta Vata to start with. His body is undergoing many changes. What can he do to reduce the stress of new environment? So for this client, what I did was I suggested follow a Pitta pacifying diet and lifestyle in the summer, and Vata pacifying diet and lifestyle in fall and winter. And the same things I'm repeating again. Drink a lot of room temperature water. Daily elimination is very important. Avoid the heat of the midday sun. Protect yourself from cold and wind. Stay warm and toasty in cold weather by wearing several layers of clothing. Especially wear a cap and scarf when you go out. Protect your ears and throat, because uh, the vata can increase. Then a vata pitta type should eat in a calm, relaxed environment and avoid the tendency to rush through meals. To balance out hot, oily, sharp, light, dry, and penetrating qualities, vata pitta type will benefit from including cold, slightly oil, but bit heavy, dense quality in their meals in moderate amount. As we know, pitta has a strong tikshna agni and vata has a variable digestion. So this type, they cannot ignore hunger or skip meals without having a drop of blood sugar energy. So highly suggest them that they should not skip meals. Otherwise, their blood sugar will fluctuate. Okay, I think I try to cover both the three Vata, Pitta, and Kapha protocols, then a combination of Kapha Vata and Pitta Vata. And this presentation will be shared by Manjulali, and you all can go through this and take the suggestions from this and suggest to your clients. And if you have any questions, I'm here.
Yeah, are there any questions or final thoughts? Okay, what's your question?
You can type your question or you can unmute yourself and ask what I'll try to answer. What does means particles in bowels? Oh, I think it was Henry's.
Yeah, yes, it was. To me, that says malabsorption.
Yeah, I think particles means like you see the food particles, I'm guessing.
Right?
So the food is not absorbed properly, it's malabsorbed.
In cases like that, it's really important to build up the agni, right? Because we know the food is literally not being digested.
Used by the body, yeah, definitely. So we have to give some like agni elixir, like increase the agni. Makes sense? I think you are just, you want to know what are those particles in the bowels, right? So the food is not digesting properly. So we have to look or we have to suggest that client how he can absorb the food properly so that the body uses the food and the nutrients is provided, the energy is provided to the person. Ginger is very good to increase the agni. So you can add fresh ginger in the morning with honey, with lukewarm water. That will increase the agni. Yeah, ginger and musta. Yeah. All right. I think you all should go through this presentation again. And still you have question, you can post in the forums. I or Manjula Ali or Connor will be more than happy to answer.
Thank you everyone for presenting. You guys did great. And remember, you're on break till the 2nd. And thank you.
Thank you. Yep.